Hey there. So we are on the homestead for the weekend again. Don't have kids this weekend, so that's different and allows a lot to get done. And today I'm working on painting all this OSB that we put up. So I had done the little sliver there, but I've got all that OSB and then all of that to paint, and then right behind the stove. So I'm going to get started right away. I need to sand the screw holes down because it is OSB, so it does kind of sliver up when you screw into it. So I'm going to take care of that and get painting. So join me and we'll see how this looks afterwards. I think it's going to be a lot brighter in here, which will be amazing. Apparently it's break time already. Fed, burped, and changed. We can start working again. First coat is done. So I haven't cut in around the edges, you can see at the top and whatnot. And I am going to paint these beams, or posts, sorry, pretty soon. But I'm going to, I've emptied the tray for the paint, so I'm going to take a minute with baby, and then I'm going to go cut in around the edges with the paintbrush and do a second coat. I'm probably going to do 3 coats, and that'll cover the OSB nicely. This is just primer though. We're going to actually paint down the road, and a lot of what I'm painting right now on this side is all going to be wallpaper. So because we have to use the OSB, because of the trailer settling and not being able to put drywall up, and I don't want to stare at insulation and vapor barrier for another year. So we're using the OSB, and I want to do wainscoting on the bottom, like the beadboard style wainscoting. And what that means for the OSB is I have 2 options. They have this rather thick textured paintable wallpaper that can go on, and you just put the top and bottom trim, and then it looks like the wainscoting boards, and it's super cheap. Or I could just leave it painted for, I don't know, 6 months and then put in the actual board wainscoting. So I'm going to try the wallpaper and see how it goes. From what I see, I've looked at samples of it, it looks quite nice. So we'll see how that goes. I'm able to pick that up as soon as these walls are done and get it up. But it needs to be painted before I can apply the wallpaper paste to the walls, as it will not stick to OSB. So getting it painted is super important. We made a change actually. We were going to frame in around the wood stove, because baby is going to be mobile later this year, and we don't want him to be able to touch the stove. So we were going to frame in around it, kind of box it in, and then tile on the inside. However, it's just not going to work with clearances from combustible walls with the space, with the floor plan that we have and the space that we have available. So we're getting a piece of sheet metal cut, and it's a satin coated sheet metal, so it's paintable. And we're going to be getting some high heat paint. Now normally high heat paint that you get at, like, I don't know, Canadian Tire, comes in like black, orange, or red, and it's made for barbecues. But you can use engine paint, because engine paint is a high heat paint and enamel also. So we're going to get this piece of sheet metal and get a stencil and do the first color, which will be a lighter color, and then put the stencil on. And I want it to look like the tile that I was going to use. So we'll use the stencil in a darker color. So the lighter will look like the grout, the darker will look like the tile. We'll see how it goes. Again, so much cheaper than framing it in and whatnot, but ultimately it's just the space for clearances and the fact that I'm not sure I want to tile anywhere in the house until the trailer has really settled, because it might shift and that means cracked tiles. So don't really want to do that. So we are still going to gate in the wood stove so that Alistair can't touch it. And we're going to probably, well, we haven't decided if we're going to buy a plasma cutter and make a gate, because that sounds fun, or have one fabricated. We'll see. It's up in the air still. We'll probably buy a plasma cutter and do it ourselves, because we both really want to buy a plasma cutter. So we'll see. All right, I'm going to take a break with baby, and then I'll get set up again to start cutting it around the edges and keep going. so I've kind of cut in around the edges. Now, the great part about painting at this stage is I don't have any flooring in. I just have plywood with paint on it. So I don't really need to mask anything off or tape anything. If some paint gets on the floor, oh well. In fact, I've only got the first coat of floor paint down. So it's all going to be hidden eventually. And these posts I am painting too. And the beams up top, I still have the tape on that I haven't cut off. So nothing can really be damaged except for furniture. So I'm just moving furniture out of the way. So that's coat 1, and it took me about an hour. So second coat will go faster. Third coat will be fastest. And baby is just sleeping wonderfully in his sling. So that's awesome. Okay, that's coat number 2. So I'm going to let it dry for a bit. We're going to put one more coat on. I've got to cut in around the edges again to do a second coat there still. So I'll do that next. Getting there. It's so much brighter in here. Okay, so you can see the walls are nice and white now all the way around. So I'm done painting. Yay! Well, I haven't done that wall yet, but I've got to move the oven and everything around. And I needed to make dinner, so I couldn't do it right away. So we're done painting, which means I can put up wallpaper now. I can, and as I described, we're going to do the wainscoting type wallpaper, the textured paintable wallpaper, and then some other wallpaper on the top. So we're going to pick that out soon. And it looks great, and it's bright in here, and it's wonderful. And it's our anniversary, so we're going to have dinner now. Just finished making it and finished watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So that's our night tonight. Woohoo! Living it up on the homestead.